Guys, hope you all doing good. So this is Shabazz Sharif. So in this tutorial, I will be illuminating to you guys about the CSS property display. So before we get started, I just want to tell you a few basic steps. I want to tell you about the code editor that I'll be using for this video. For this video, I'll be using Visual Studio Code. It's still according to your preference, guys. There are a lot of code editors. So, but I do prefer Visual Studio Code. You can open up and according to whatever the code editors you like. So to install Visual Studio Code, head on to your favorite browser and type in Visual Studio Code download in the search and click enter. So the links pop up. So click on the link that says download Visual Studio Code. So according to the OS platforms, the links will be coming. So mine is Windows and I've already downloaded it. So suppose if yours is Ubuntu, click on this particular link, or if yours is Mac, click on this link. I've already clicked on Windows and I've installed it. So here it is. This is how it looks. So I've already kept the folder open just for your reference, guys. I'm just opening it. File, open folder. It says display. Select folder. So here is the index HTML file. So here are the tags that represent block elements, and here are the tags that represent inline elements. So by default displays, sorry, uh, display value is block, and by default spans display value is inline. Okay, and the respective style here in this file. So all the elements that has the class block, these styles will be applied. Okay, they are both similar. Okay, I haven't explicitly given this property. I give it display inline, and for all the block elements it is display block. Save. Let's see how this looks onto the browser. Copy path. Paste. Here is it, guys. So as you can see, I have 4 block elements and 4 inline elements. As you can say, the basic difference is that the block elements take the whole width of the parent container. So this is its parent container. So it takes the whole width of the parent container 100%. And whereas in inline, as you can see, it takes the of only the content. It spans only till what the content is. But also in block elements, it takes the 100% of the width, and also the block elements get stacked below each other. Whereas in inline, they get stacked next to each other. So right click on them. Let's open the dev tools. So tags that have the class inline, you can see its respective styles here. So it consists of border, padding, margin, and display. So as you see, and the class that has block, okay, I've just given a text align center so that the content is aligned to the center. But the rest of it is the same as what I've given to inline elements. Border of 2 pixels, solid and maroon color, padding 10 pixel, margin 10 pixel, display block. Okay, even though if I try to remove the display property, it's still going to be the same because the default display view of the div elements is block. Okay, so when I hover onto the block element, you can see there are 3 colors that are coming here. Okay, one is the orange, green, and blue. Orange represents the margin. So margin bottom here I've given it as pixels. Okay, padding I've given it as 10 pixels. Okay, and the blue is the total width of the element, excluding the padding and margin. Uh, also, I've written a shorthand property. Okay, it can also be written as 10 pixel on top, 10 pixel on right, 10 pixel to the bottom, and 10 pixel to the left. So 10 pixel to the left. Since all the four sides contain the same amount of pixels, I've written shorthand value as 10 pixels. Here's it, guys. So as I have told you before, so what happens in block elements is it takes the 100% of the width and they stack below each. Now let's see what is the inline elements. In inline elements, as you can see, it contains the same properties: display, inline, margin, and pad. But for the display value inline, you can see the elements are getting stacked next to each other. So when I hover over this span element, you can see the orange color is only highlighted on the left and the right side of the element. It is not getting highlighted on top and the bottom. So you can say that inline elements, the top and the bottom margin do not get applied. Only the right the left margin gets applied, and also you can see padding. The green color is being highlighted on all the four sides. So in inline elements, padding gets applied on all four sides. So in inline, the exception is that the top and the bottom margin does not get applied. Okay. Now let's see what happens when I try to give height to the inline element. Height of 100 pixels. Nothing happens, right? So even in inline elements, even height also does not get applied. Now let's see what happens if I give width. Nothing is changed, right? So you say that even in inline elements, the height, the width, and the margin top and bottom do not get applied. But this is not the case in case of block elements. Now let's see what happens to the block elements. See, as in block elements, all four sides of the margin are applied. You can see orange color getting highlighted on all four sides. So on all four sides. Also in block elements, you can also set its width 100 pixels. So it changes. You can also set its width 100 pixels. Now see, even though here in block elements, they only stack below each other. They do not stack next to each other. All right. So these are the basic difference in block and inline elements. Now let's see. Now let me refresh the page and bring back to its original content. Now let's see what happens if I add more inline elements next to inline 4. Going back to my code. So here is where it ends. Let me add a few more. Refresh. Did you see that? So what happens is, as I told you before, for inline elements, the height and width it does not consider, even though when you try to explicitly to give it. Okay, it only considers. So the content inline one is getting finished here. So what happens is it stacks below it. Okay, of this element is not being considered. Okay, so as soon as this content is as soon as the content is finished, so the next element gets assigned. Okay, even though when I try to explicitly try to give its height, then does not change. Let's try. Nothing happens. Nothing happens. Okay, but the padding always has been applied, and margin only on right and left is being applied. I refresh and bring back to its original form. Let me delete this. Okay, let this be as it is. Now let's see. Now we know the basic difference between and inline elements. Now let's see what happens when we change the display inline block. Suppose in any case, if you want the elements to behave as both block and inline elements. Okay, inline is the basic is that the elements stack to each other, but in block you can set the height, you can set the margin, you can set the padding, but the only problem with the block elements is you cannot stack the elements next to each other. You can only stack the elements below each other. So if you want both the values, both the properties of block and inline to be applied to a single element, you can change the display value to inline block. Did you see what happened? So as soon as I change it to inline block, both the properties of inline and block is being applied. Inline is that it stacks next to each other, and also block, what happens, it covers the padding on all four sides, margin on all four sides, and also you can now set its height. Suppose that it's at 200 pixel. Here is it, and width 200 pixel. Here is it. You can change it accordingly. Okay. So here is it, guys, the basic difference between inline block and inline block elements. So if you do like video, please like, share, and write the comments down below. Thank you guys for your time. Have a great day. Bye bye.